A life with structure and discipline. In the text, The Other Westmore, One Name, Two Fates, Westmore provides the reader with insight on structure and discipline. Ultimately, by understanding the text, one can see that structure and discipline are the difference makers on whether you become successful in life or just fall off track and don't leave a legacy of any sort behind. The reader gains valuable knowledge that can be implemented in their own lives about why they shouldn't let their social status and stereotypes determine who they are, but instead be disciplined and structured from a young age in order to gain a chance at beating the odds. This is proven by Moore 1 because although both Moores grew up in a very similar environment, Moore 1 grew up in a household that emphasized structure and discipline from his mother and grandparents, as well as the schools he attended really highlighted the importance of structure and discipline. Moore 2 was raised in a completely different manner. He grew up with lots of freedom, and the act of discipline was absent in his childhood. Structure and discipline came in many different forms for Moore 1. From a very young age, Moore 1 was already exposed to the discipline and structure his family would implement on him. Moore writes, main man, you can't just hit people, and particularly women. You must defend them, not fight them. Do you understand? I nodded and asked, is mommy mad at me? No, mommy loves you, like I love you. She just wants you to do the right thing. Moore, page 11. At just 3 years old, Moore 1 was already becoming disciplined by his mom and dad. In an instant where Moore 1 hit his sister, he was disciplined from that moment on. Although his father took a rather lighter approach than his mother would have originally, he still got the point across of creating a structure to Moore that hitting women is frowned upon and will lead to punishment. Structure and discipline seem to be passed down through generations in the Moore family. Moore 1 moved into the Bronx to live with his grandparents because his mom couldn't keep up with supporting three kids on her own. But even they had a structure mindset about structure and discipline, so there was even they had a strict mindset about structure and discipline, so there was never any chance Moore 1 could escape this lifestyle. Growing up in the Bronx can be very dangerous if a disciplined lifestyle isn't imposed on you to keep you safe, and Moore 1's grandparents planned on doing exactly that. Moore writes, when the streetlights went on, we had to be back home. All chores had to be done before we even thought about going outside to play. If we heard any gunfire, or as my grandmother called it, foolishness, outside, we were to immediately return home no matter where it was. Moore 42. This early discipline is what helped guide Moore on the right path in life, and to create successful habits from a young age. It helped him because he was less exposed to violence and drugs because he couldn't be out too late, as well as learning to finish your responsibilities before being able to go out and enjoy yourself, which is a very important life lesson to be accompanied to. The high discipline is shown in Moore 1's family when he was sent to the military school due to his lack of academic results in his private school that he attended. Moore 1's mother reacts immediately by sending him to the military, where she knew the discipline and structure were at a whole other level. Military school gave Moore 1 a new mindset He saw that everybody was working on each other's behalf and motivating each other to be successful, so it was only a matter of time before it wore off on him. Moore writes, they made it clear that they cared if I succeeded, and eventually so did I. The structure that the military brought to the table was second to none, and it really showed when Moore 1 returned home. Moore writes, my mother had noticed the way I had changed since leaving from military school. My back stood straight, and my sentences now ended with sir or ma'am. Moore 115. Moore 1's change in appearance and manners really solidified how the military changed him and shaped him into becoming a man. Moore 1 never forgot about the roots where and how of where his initial discipline and structure came from. Moore writes, I thought about my mother and how she would feel if this escalated any further. I thought about my father and the name he chose for me. In a moment of chaos, Moore went deep in his memory and remembered what his mom had to sacrifice for him to go to the military school and his father's lessons on fighting from when he was 3 years old. Moore 1 honored their lessons and sacrifices by staying disciplined and withholding the urge to fight back, but to instead turn around and walk away. The structure that the military imposed really motivated Moore to go on and create a successful life for himself. This was seen through his ability to rise in the ranks and become a well-respected leader in the military, as well as receiving a college degree. Moore, too, unfortunately lacked a great deal of structure and discipline throughout his life. With no father figure present and his mother working all day meant Murtu was responsible for waking up and taking it upon himself to go to school every day. Although it may seem that as though these responsibilities would cause Moore to mature quicker, it only caused him to skip school a lot and hang out on the streets because nobody was around to discipline him and keep him on the right path in life. Moore too found his only structure and support system in the drug game. Moore writes, "This was the crew. They would work together, fight together, stay together. An unbreakable bond united the crew. For many members, it was the only support system they had. It was family." Moore 111. Even though Moore's crew still gave him a sense of family and support, it was the wrong kind. At the end of the day, each crew member doesn't have the right mindset to help Moore become more successful in life because they're only focused on how they could become rich through gang life and gang activities. With no structure, Moore was destined for a dangerous life. Moore writes, West pleaded with the cop who was reaching over to cuff him while the rest kept their weapons on him. Getting arrested started to feel like a routine. Moore began to become accustomed to the lifestyle of being arrested because of the lack of discipline he experienced through his life. This caused him to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again until it eventually ruined his life for good when he was sentenced to life in prison. Structure and discipline shaped me into who I am today and helped me get this far in life. Going to a school in a different country is a tough challenge to face as a teenager. I miss my family a lot, but what keeps me going is the structure and discipline that I developed from a young age. Becoming a successful soccer player has a lot to do with discipline. Playing for the University of Akron men's soccer team requires me to stay extremely disciplined at all times because it is a privilege to play here. Being late to practices or meetings is inexcusable and can lead to consequences. But since my parents raised me in a disciplined manner, I learned that the importance of being punctual and on time because it is a sign of respect. I remember when I skipped class for the first time in high school during my sophomore year. When I came home later that day, I could sense the tension between me and my dad, but I was too scared to say anything because I was hoping he didn't find out. He called me into the living room and gave me a long speech about how how I am only setting myself up for failure and that I am disrespecting all the hard work him and my mom go through for me to have a good life. The approach he took to discipline me wasn't physical type, but it definitely got the message across. This discipline from my dad helped me stay on course and continue to stick with me during university because I know I have to continue to honor his hard work by doing well and graduating. The structure and discipline I learned from my parents will help me after college because I'll make sure to impose the same rules on my kids and family because I know that if you listen and learn from your mistakes, you can create a successful life for yourself. Moore 1 and Moore 2 are clear-cut examples of how structure and discipline help create habits that lead to successful lives. Moore was constantly around structure, and the second he became undisciplined and developed bad habits, his mom stepped up the level to discipline by sending him away to military school. The difference with Moore 2 was when he made mistakes like the rest of us do as children, he had nobody there to help him and turn him away from the bad path he was on. So he continued to make the same bad choices, which ultimately led him to ruin his life. Structure and discipline is the recipe to succeeding in life because as humans, when we make mistakes, we must have a figure that we respect enough to honor their advice and trust that what they're trying to teach us will help create successful habits.